The city of Carlisle has a rich Roman history, being an important military outpost on Hadrian's Wall at the northernmost extent of the Roman Empire. During prehistoric times, however, the focus was different. It lay at the heart of a social network linking distant communities living in what is now Scotland, both sides of the Pennines and the Irish Sea Zone. Evidence for this came to light during the construction of the Carlisle Northern Development Route, a new road extending for 8.5 kilometres around the west of Carlisle and across a new bridge over the River Eden. Specifically at the Stainton West site, on the floodplain just to the north of the bridge, there was evidence for an extensive hunter-gatherer encampment on an island between two river channels. This was repeatedly occupied during the Mesolithic period, between the 7th and 5th millennia BC, with distinct activity zones developing and being used in much the same way over this time. Just under 900 metres squared of the camp was excavated, with all the sediment being wet sieved to 2 millimetres. And this led to over 300,000 pieces of worked stone being recovered, including over 6,000 microliths, many of which were probably used as barbs for hunting or fishing weapons. Indeed, it is thought that hunter-gatherers congregated at the site to take advantage of the fish migrating into the Eden, possibly in the spring. The variety of stone types present suggests that the bountiful resources of the Solway Firth attracted groups who spent the rest of the year elsewhere. The group of hunter-gatherers most closely associated with the Stainton West site probably habitually ranged along the Eden Valley, spending the summer in the higher inland landscapes of the Pennines and the Lake District. A relict river channel adjacent to the encampment contained a wealth of waterlogged organic material. This included a beaver lodge and dam that acted as a focus for hunter-gatherer activity in the channel. Stone tools and charred and worked wood, like these wood chips, provided evidence of this, whereas claw marks, probably made by a juvenile brown bear, indicate that it wasn't just beavers and people that thrived in this rich oak, elm and hazel woodland habitat. Towards the end of the 5th millennium BC, the site seems to have been largely abandoned, but it was reoccupied between 3800 and 3700 BC, when environmental evidence showed that for the first time farming was being practiced in the region. People possibly returned because of an ancestral memory of the importance of this place, and perhaps physical traces of the former encampment also survived. They constructed a wooden platform in the channel that acted as a focus for deposition. Amongst the objects deposited were small pieces of carinated bowl pottery, stone axe heads, coarse stone tools for chopping, crushing, grinding and polishing, and flint tools including blades and arrowheads. There were also wooden objects such as a paddle and 2 large oak tridents, which had all been placed with care and in association with other items. Other more prosaic wooden finds included planks, debris and wood chips of oak and elm, presumably generated during a nearby felling event, but also evidently deposited with care. Indeed, many of the deposited pieces of worked wood and coarse stone could have been associated with felling large ancient trees, and several of the huge tree throw holes on the banks of the channel were of contemporaneous date. Apart from occasional wood chips and other detritus, the felled wood was not found in the channel, and it was likely used for timber structure elsewhere, possibly on a higher river terrace. A henge monument was constructed there, probably in the later Neolithic period, and it is possible that any earlier timber structure might have influenced its siting. The channel remained the focus for activity around 2800 to 2600 BC, when the henge was probably in use. 2 large timber stakes were driven into it, sherds from a grooved ware vessel were deposited there, and 2 burnt mounds were formed on its banks. These may have been for bathing and purification rituals associated with the henge. The site remained significant for this purpose for a millennium, with further burnt mounds being formed there until the Middle Bronze Age. The fantastically well-preserved remains at Stainton West are not only important in demonstrating how hunter-gatherer life and early Neolithic rites were organised at the site, they also permit interpretations to be drawn that are of significance for the north of Britain as a whole. Available to download now from knowledge.oxfordarchaeology.com or contact us to purchase a hard copy.